So it looks like TikTok's days have been numbered officially now, with a ban going through, being signed as a bill, giving TikTok a certain amount of months, and they have some sort of extension in there to basically sell the entire company to a US company or just straight up get banned. And this has been a topic that, everyone's been talking about for a while now. It always seems to be clickbaited and saying TikTok's going to get banned, even by the government saying TikTok's going to get banned. This time's for real, this time's for real. But now the bill's actually signed and passed, so the time frame, the everything about it is officially here, and this is what is looking like, saying Congress approved the TikTok ban. Why it could still be years before it finally takes effect. Obviously, they have their own timeline. I think it's 9 months or something they gave them. We'll see in here. But to basically sell, saying TikTok's fate in the U.S. has never been more in doubt after Congress approved a bill that gives its parent company two options: sell it to an approved buyer or see it banned. So obviously, right now, TikTok doesn't want to sell. Even if they did sell TikTok, they would sell. It'd be weird because it would be the U.S. TikTok would be like its own brand, but then the rest of the world TikTok would still be owned by ByteDance. But so that would be a little weird for people in Europe using TikTok. It would be different than people in the U.S. It just kind of makes it a little weird, I think, at least. But also, if they sold that and did all that, they would not sell their algorithm. That's like something that they would never do. They don't even want to sell anything to begin with. So their algorithm is especially off the table no matter what. They would rather get banned than sell just the logo. So, if you added in the TikTok algorithm, they would never even consider anything. Obviously, how soon could this actually take place? It could be several years from now, because there's a lot of things that go into this. Saying that the statute's language said ByteDance would have 9 months to divest and find an American buyer for TikTok once this is signed into law, which it did. And then on top of that, it can also, the deadline could be pushed back by an additional 90 days, meaning that without a sale, the soonest that TikTok could be banned would be in about a year from now. But obviously, it gets even more complicated, because that's just, if they don't sell, they would be banned in a year, sure. But they could also fight this in court, saying if ByteDance sues to block the implementation of the statute, which it said it would do, the bill will be taken up by DC Circuit Court of Appeals, meaning that obviously they could push this through the courts and have all this litigation, which obviously slows things down. So that initial year with fighting in the courts and everything going on, you could add multiple years to that and see that just continuously go down and down and down. But you might ask yourself, just as a little curiosity, saying that obviously politicians are of the utmost, just greatest people. They would never do anything to call into question their morals or rulings or take advantage of the positions that they're in. But that would be completely wrong, because obviously on this bill, TikTok being banned or divested, being sold, numerous politicians bought Meta stock beforehand. Isn't that a coincidence? And in fact, the author of the bill, he bought up to $600,000 of Meta stock before voting on the bill. Somebody else bought another $50,000. So obviously, they are taking full advantage of this, saying, if TikTok's forced to be banned, Meta or Facebook, they're the biggest players in the US. They can take over that market with, I don't know, Instagram Reels. I would take more of a bet on YouTube and YouTube Shorts. If you're going to kick TikTok out, I would think YouTube Shorts would kind of fill that gap. I don't think anyone uses Instagram Reels. So if there was anything, I think they're betting on the wrong company. But maybe, they just know more than, maybe they're going to ban YouTube Shorts next. Who knows? But also, we can look at the CEO of TikTok, what he responded to this. He gave his own little statement saying, what they're going to do and how they're reacting to this.
Hi everyone, it's Show here. As you may have heard, Congress passed a bill that the president signed into law that is designed to ban TikTok in the United States. That will take TikTok away from you and 170 million Americans who find community and connection on our platform. Make no mistake, this is a ban on TikTok and a ban on you and your voice. Politicians may say otherwise, but don't get confused. Many who sponsored the bill admit a TikTok ban is their ultimate goal. It's obviously a disappointing moment, but it does not need to be a defining one. It's actually ironic because the freedom of expression on TikTok reflects the same American values that make the United States a beacon of freedom.
Obviously, he's talking about the freedom points, and he's going to go into their biggest argument, which is freedom of speech, is what they're trying to fight this on. At the end of the day, if you want to use TikTok, use TikTok. If you don't, whatever. I can see why people in the government would be upset if it's a Chinese company. The same reason that basically every social media from the US is not allowed in China. It is banned there, and they have their own versions. They want to control the algorithm. They want to make sure that no foreign influence is a thing. So, I mean, the other way around, vice versa, you could see, if China was doing this and banning all this, maybe they don't have the best intent for other countries, right? So I can see why anyone's skeptical. Any government, any country should be skeptical because China bans everyone else, right? But also, it's just kind of, if you want to use TikTok, use it, whatever. If you're worried it's some spyware thing, don't put TikTok on any sensitive phones or devices. Don't use it. And the other thing, if the algorithm is so detrimental, I don't know what you do to fight that other than banning it. That's really the simple thing. If you think like China is pushing certain agendas on TikTok, then I mean the only option would be to ban it or get them to hand it over.
TikTok gives everyday Americans a powerful way to be seen and heard, and that's why so many people have made TikTok part of their daily lives. Rest assured, we aren't going anywhere. We are confident and we will keep fighting for your rights in the courts. The facts and the Constitution are on our side, and we expect to prevail again. Our community is filled with people who have found acceptance and compassion, offered inspiration and encouragement, increased their awareness, and brought into perspectives, ultimately adding more delight and joy to their lives. Our community is also filled with 7 million business owners who have built their livelihoods on TikTok. While we make our case in court, you'll still be able to enjoy TikTok like you always have. In fact, if you have a story about how TikTok impacts your life, we'll love for you to share it to showcase exactly what we're fighting for.
So even obviously they're fighting on the First Amendment, right stuff, and some of the biggest things that they say or that he says there is that there's a business part of TikTok now. Banning it before, when the first or second time that it was threatened to be banned, would have been easier because they didn't have all this intertangled business and advertising that happened on TikTok. Now there's a TikTok shop. There's a whole monetized area there. There's a lot of businesses built off there and use TikTok to push their products, to advertise their products, to reach people. It's just an insanely more in-depth thing than just banning a social media site that it used to be. So it's a lot more integral now to a lot of businesses. So I think that's another whole thing that is super hard, where you won't even have just the CEO of TikTok or people directly involved with TikTok fighting for this. You'll have businesses saying, I need TikTok. It's how I advertise. It's how I get my product out there. It's how I make sales. And now they're going to be fighting for it as well. So if you actually wanted to get a ban out there, probably should have done it before business got ingrained with it. It seems like this time is for real. It's dead serious. TikTok's days are numbered. They got the bill signed, the ban going on in, I guess, about a year if it sticks to that. Obviously, all the court cases could be several years. Maybe it ends up getting banned, or maybe it ends up saying, it's a free speech thing and anyone can do this. So who knows? It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because it's not a US company and it's not something that China would allow. If we had our social media sites, they'd push those out. So just pushing out a Chinese one, I mean, you can see the reasons why. I could see it at least. But I think ultimately use TikTok if you want to. Don't if you don't. But if it does get banned, maybe the brain rot that we've been seeing maybe goes down a little bit, but we might be too far gone for that. That's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash that button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.